morning, beautiful people. Welcome to the market call for today, the 13th of April, 2026. My name is CJ, and alongside me, we have Abigail, we have Cynthia, Demola, and Lekon. This is a valuable trading team bringing to you the market call for this morning. And one of the things that we aim to achieve here on the market call is to show you our insights on where we think the market is going to and the possible trades that we're going to be taking today. So this is going to help you get off on a good start for the remaining part of the week. So whether you're watching us from London to Lisbon, Los Angeles, any part of the world, once again, you're welcome to the market color. So we're going to head straight into the chart, picking up our analysis with an outlook on gold this morning, responding to the failed attempt on a good negotiation last week on Friday. We saw how things actually fell apart between the talks, within the talks of Iran and the US. There was supposed to be a temporal ceasefire, which was supposed to last for 2 weeks, and there was supposed to also be a peace talk on Friday, but things fell apart and they were not able to come to a reasonable conclusion. So we're seeing the market react to that this week already. Looking at gold on the daily time frame, you can see how gold has reacted as well. We saw a very quick dip and then a fast retracement on gold forward to a sell-off on gold for the remaining part of the month. We're looking at it from this lens where we said that when gold retraces, we're looking at the fair value gap on the 50% and the 61% region. Price is traded beyond the 50% and then it's already selling. So we're expecting this rejection and a quick sell on gold all the way to the downside. So this is what we're expecting to play out on gold this morning. So this is what we were talking about earlier. So gold had already retraced all the way to 50, went beyond 50, tapped into 61, and then started selling. So we're expecting that rejection to continue, giving us a sell bias on gold. So we're expecting to see how far gold is going to go to that effect. And if you look at it on the 1 hour time frame, you see that this morning it's already made that quick move to the downside I was talking about earlier. We saw that rejection that sent gold all the way to the downside. And right now, we're expecting to see how gold is going to give us a much more clearer reaction as we proceed into the remaining parts of the week. So for gold today, we're expecting, although we're anticipating a bullish move, but we should see some sell-off before the continuation. Also, in line with what we've seen starting out on the beginning of the week, we saw this quick bearish move and then it's now making rounds to the upside. Now, originally, we were expecting gold to trade a little more higher before the sell, and seeing that price had not broken structure clearly, because if you look at this, this is the last overall structure on gold. This is between here and here. So this is the last overall structure. Price has not broken it yet. So we could be seeing some more buys on gold, seeing that price is still within the last order structure. We could just see more buys on gold because we are anticipating that gold could possibly trade into some higher regions on the daily time frame. We're expecting somewhere around there. So if that plays out, then we're going to be seeing gold give us one more push to the upside before the final sell. All right, and if that doesn't structure that we're already seeing on 1 hour time frame and follow suit. Now for this morning, what is the trade we're expecting to take? Now, if you look at the 4 hour time frame, we're still very bullish on gold. If you look at the 1 hour time frame, we're still bullish on gold, irrespective of the fact that price still made this move to the downside, but overall structure we still remain bullish. So for me, I'm still maintaining a bullish bias on gold. I would want to take an attempt at a buy on gold this morning and see how far it's going to, because until price breaks this structure, we are still within the same frame. So at this point, it gave us a good discount for a buy on gold. So I'm expecting buys on gold this morning, and I'm expecting it to trade all the way to this upside. So I'll be looking for a variation pattern or a clear pattern for a buy, and then I'll be taking it to the upside. So what I'm looking out for right now is a good pattern for a buy. I don't expect price to trade all the way to the downside. I expect it to just maintain this structure and then trade off it. So I'm expecting to see a buy from here to the upside. Once the entry signal shows up, I'll be executing my buy. Now over to the yen basket quickly. We're going to see how that the yen basket has traded into our discount, into our premium level, and then sold off massively into the discount. So overall, it's very clear. We've been saying it since last week. The yen basket is very bearish, and we should be bullish on the yen pairs. Now looking at GBP, JPY, like I said, also GBP, JPY is very bullish. We're expecting continuous bullishness to the upside. Now, last week, when we saw the bullishness of GBP, JPY on Friday, we said we wanted to see a retracement. One of the possible places was here, and then the second one was right here. So I've been looking forward to a GBP, JPY retracement on either of these two levels. Now, with the news that came out within the weekend, we saw how GBP, JPY retraced into this place and then resumed to the upside. And you saw that also that the news did not change the trajectory of GBP, JPY. It didn't change the overall structure. It just showed the reaction. All right, so for GBP, JPY, I'm still bullish. I'm looking forward to an entry right now. And where am I looking to enter from this morning? I want to see a quick retracement into somewhere around here on 15 minutes time frame is much more clearer. So around here, I'll be taking my buy on GBP, JPY, and I'll be riding it all the way to the upside. I'm going to be targeting minimum of 1:3, and this high right here will give me just that. So this is the trade I'm looking to take on GBP, JPY. So similar thing on Euro JPY as well. If you see this retracement here, we'll be taking this trade to the upside. And on Euro JPY, this is what I'm looking out for. A retracement to this region here, I'll be taking the trade. So for all yen pairs, I'm expecting bullishness across board. So once I see a retracement, I'll be taking my buy and riding it to the upside. So this is what I'm looking out for on the pairs I'm analyzing. For GBP, JPY, and Euro JPY, I'm expecting a buy. Same thing on gold. I'm expecting a buy across board on all three of them. All right, so this brings me to the analysis of the US currency pairs. And for us to get that analysis clear, we're going to be having Cynthia on board who shows what she's analyzing on the dollar index, UPJPY, UGPY, and then shows possible trades she'll be taking this week. Hello, Cynthia. Good morning.
Good morning, CJ. Welcome to the second segment of today's analysis, where we'll be focusing on DXY, Euro USD, and GBP USD. That was a very wonderful and precise analysis from CJ. Please kindly take note of every price point we are calling out so that when price gets there, you'll be on time to take opportunities in the market. All right, so beg your pardon, let me pull up my charts and then we'll see what the market is doing today and what the market has for us into the course of this week. I hope you can see my chart. Let me pull up DXY. Beg your pardon. So I believe you all can see my screen. On the weekly time frame for DXY, we've been looking at this point of interest for a period of time now, whereby we want price to trade all the way into this left shoulder 107.490. There's still room for DXY to trade all the way here. There's another block, a fair value gap, and eventually the left shoulder, the classic box pattern, where we are looking for price to react from once price trades into that level. On the daily time frame, however, I can also spot a classic box pattern for a buy. Remember that we want to buy all the way to the left shoulder on the weekly time frame. So there's the classic box pattern for a buy right here. Shoulder at 97.912, sweep to the downside, break to the upside. Once price returns into this left shoulder at 97.912, I want to buy the XY. On the 4-hour time frame, let's see. Of course, we are seeing that the most recent price action seems to be bearish. And of course, we want to see price retracing right back into the left shoulder at 97 spots. 912. There's even one right here on the 4-hour frame, right? The left shoulder at 97.343. Once price retraces right back into this level, I want to keep buying the XY. So I'm looking out for a sell to buy into this week, meaning that I want to short the XY short term and long Euro USD and GBP USD. Let's see if we can spot any entry for the short term buy on the much lower time frames, the 15 minutes time frame. And of course, you know what I'm looking out for, the classic box pattern for entry. There's a gap right here that I'm anticipating that price should fill on the 15 minutes time frame, right? I think during market open, this actually happened. So we want to see price filling up this gap and then trading all the way to fill up this before selling into the left shoulder. So I can't spot any entry yet on the 15 minutes time frame, a classic box pattern, of course. So once that happens, once I spot an entry on much lower time frames, best believe we're going to call it out on the market color group. The weekly time frame for Euro USD, we've been looking at this for a long time now, for a very long time. So I'm looking out for price to sell off into this level, 1.06763. And once price gets there, I want to continue longing Euro USD. On daily time frame, I can even spot the classic box pattern for a sell right here. And of course, we're looking out for a sell to buy. We're looking out for a sell to buy on the much higher time frame, which is the weekly time frame. So there's classic box pattern right here, shoulder at 1.18102, sweep to the upside, break to the downside. Once price trades into 1.18102, I want to short Euro USD on the daily time frame. And on the 4-hour time frame, that's just to make us know that there's still room for a short-term buy on Euro USD into the left shoulder on daily time frame, which is 1.18102. And heading straight to the 1-hour time frame. On the 1-hour time frame, we're seeing that the most recent price action seems to be bullish. And of course, just a reminder and to reiterate, I want to buy short term before slamming Euro USD, before shorting Euro USD all the way to the downside. Beg your pardon. So this is where I want to buy from. Short-term buy, of course. Left shoulder at 1.15789 on the 1-hour time frame. So once price returns into this level, 1.15789, I want to long all the way into 1.18102 before shorting. So I'm looking out for a sell into 1.15789 on the 1-hour time frame, and then once price gets there, I want to buy all the way to 1.18102. And of course, on daily time frame, we're looking out to sell off 1.18102. So my trade for today and even into midweek is for price to retrace right back into this level. I buy into this level, and then I want to short all the way to the downside. On GBP USD being the last pair on my list, the weekly time frame, of course, we've been looking at this level, right? 1.124683, shoulder sweep break. Once price returns into this level, I want to long GBP USD. On the daily time frame, I can also spot the classic box pattern, shoulder right here at 1.35530, sweep to the upside, break to the downside, one more push into 1.3550. I want to sell GBP USD once price gets there. So on the 1-hour time frame, let's figure out what price is doing. So the most recent price action is very bullish, right? It is bullish. Most recent price action is bullish. So I want to buy GBP USD once price retraces into 1.32931. Shoulder sweep break, and of course, once price gets there, I want to take a short-term buy. And where am I buying into? I'm buying into this level, short-term buy into 1.35530 GBP USD. Once price gets there, I should be warming up to exit and take short positions. With that being said, I'm done with my own segment. Lekon, what are you seeing in synthetics market? And of course, traders want to take opportunities from the synthetics market too.
Yeah, good morning, Cynthia. Thank you very much. That was an insightful analysis. And just as we all know, that synthetic market is a 247 market. The past few weeks has been a very quiet, and this weekend rather, this past weekend, the market has been so amazing. And some setup we marked out on Friday has really been playing out in the market. So we are going to start with those ones and also see the opportunity we can jump on for this week moving forward. And this morning, we are going to be starting straight with this 31S. Looking at this 31S from the 24-hour, the daily time frame rather. If you look at from the daily time frame, we've seen what price is currently doing. We've been in a very strong consolidation on the daily time frame. Therefore, we are looking for opportunity to buy low and sell high. Now, looking at what we have here, we see how that price reacted to this particular discount point here. And we saw the massive buy all the way to the upside. So we come all the way to the 4-hour to see what we are heading to. But before we go to the 4-hour time frame, I'm of the opinion that when price pull back to this daily order block here with a fair value gap, very tiny, clean and clear fair value gap inside there. If you see it very well, we are going to look out for opportunity to long this 31S, and it becomes much more clear. We have a very great contest to that on the 4-hour time frame. So if you look at the 4-hour time frame, we have very clean and clear bust pattern around this zone, just that there's a liquidity point here that we should wait for price to come and take out and tap into our daily fair value gap, and that is what we are looking out to do here, meaning when price get to this particular zone, we are longing this 31S, and you do your 1:2 or 1:3. As a matter of fact, I'm interested in that 1:3 this time around. All right, so this is for this 31S. This is the outlook for the week on this 31S. So just wait for your setup to play out on your 4-hour time frame. I know some will be like, can't wait for low price all the way down here. You can go to your lower time frame to narrow down what price is saying around that point. As a matter of fact, for me, I've not really seen a clear move to the downside here. I've not really seen a clear way of joining the sell. Instead, I'm waiting for the buy on the higher time frame, which is this for our POI. All right, so all we want to do is let's wait till price enters into our fair value gap on the daily time frame with a complex of another block on the daily time frame too, so we can join the bullish move all the way to the upside. All right, so that is that for this 31S. This one, let's quickly take a look at this 25 itself too. From the daily time frame, we are going to agree with me that this 25 is very bullish. However, on the 4-hour time frame, I'm still looking at price coming down to this level, price trading into this other block, then continue its bullish move. But right now, we want to look at opportunity to follow price down to that level. So if you come to your 1-hour time frame, you are going to agree with me that on the 1-hour time frame, we have our clean and clear bust pattern that price just tapped into in the middle of the night around early this morning, 4 o'clock this morning. So I'm of the opinion that if we go to our 15-minute time frame, we should see a very clean and clear entry. So I'm looking out to short this 25 on the 15-minute time frame when price gets to this particular point. Now, when you are shorting from this level here, your SL is going to be, when you are shorting from here, your SL won't just be there. Your SL should be the reference on the 4-hour time frame. So my reference for the SL is going to be the high that we have for today. This particular high here, that's where my SL is. And knowing fully well that we are targeting a 1:2 or very much more if you can trade it all the way to take out this low here, and we'll be waiting for the buy continuation. When price get back to this point, we are going to follow through for the buy, and we are trading it all the way back up with the continuation. All right, so this is for this week for this 25-1s. Also looking at what we have on the V75-1s. Remember, on Friday, we've been awaiting the sell of V75-1s. If you look at it very well, we are waiting for price to come and take out this for our liquidity point, and we have our shoulder somewhere here. Is very obvious on the 1 hour time frame, and that was exactly what price played out for us on Saturday. And we see the sell-off now. Since the sell is going on, we are waiting for it to get to our POI for us to buy. So I have two levels marked out for the buy of this 75-1s, meaning price trading into this. This is a very clean burst pattern to just that is a low probability one because of the sweep that we have here. All right, so this is the first entry, and all we want to do there is 1:2. And when price fully comes into this, if this does not hold, then we are looking at this holding. This is going to be a probability one. When price taps into this level, we want to execute and follow through. So for this week, we are looking for buy opportunities on this 75-1s. And lastly, for this 75 itself, so our setup since Friday is still very much valid. The price has not really got into our POI for the sell that we've been looking out for since Friday. So we are waiting for price to trade all the way, take out this liquidity. When price takes out that liquidity, then we pull trigger, and our stop loss is going to be somewhere above this level. As a matter of fact, I'm seeing price trading into this 1 hour order block at this point here. I'm seeing price trading here, but so that for price to tag us along early, just let us wait for price. When price take out that liquidity, let's wait for it to go. So I'm of the opinion that we are still going to see price trade into this zone here. So when price take out this liquidity, is better for price to tag us along than for it to just take out the liquidity and not tap into this other block that we have here and start selling. You'll be pained if that happens, right? So what I'm expecting is price taking out this liquidity and we follow through to the downside. So that is that for V75 V75 index, V75-1s, V25, and also V30. In the synthetic market, since the market opens 247, let's watch out together for the opportunities as they show up so that we pull trigger. And once more, remember to use your proper risk management as you trade with caution, right? Thank you very much. This is going to be the end for the synthetic market. Right now, we're going into the indices market to hear from Demola what are the opportunities showing up in the indices market that we all can jump on this morning. All right. Good morning, Demola.
Good morning, Luca. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for the analysis on the synthetic market. Like CJ mentioned earlier, for those following the news, you would observe that it has been chaotic, right? Since the weekend, and it's also reflected in the market. You can see gold, there's a gap, sell to the downside. Yes, 30 saw a massive um, sell to the downside. That is not by coincidence. Remember on Friday, I mentioned something very important, that even if we are seeing any setup in the market, a clear determinant of what position and how much we are going to size on that position is what the White House is saying. In fact, remove the White House, replace it by what President Trump is saying, right? And then the negotiation that was going on last week, Friday, unfortunately, there was no bargain, there was no outcome, right? There's no clear compromise yet. And that also made the market to sell to the downside. On the 4-hour time frame, or even let's start from the daily time frame, we saw price already at this zone, Actually, I was looking to sell from this zone, but then because it wasn't clear on US 30, I didn't leave. I didn't place any entry on US 30. Rather, what the setup I had and that the one I shared last week was on US 100, that's NASDAQ. We are seeing a very clear cut sell. But like I mentioned, I gave a disclaimer. Don't just jump in. You don't know what can happen, right? It just so happened that they didn't have any compromise. They didn't make any bargains. If there was there had been a clear-cut agreement to say, okay, the total ceasefire, most likely that sale setup will have been invalidated, right, before 8 o'clock this morning. But interestingly, the market just decided to do what it does, right? So some people, the school of thought that technical controls fundamental, that fundamental aligns with technical overall. But what we are seeing over and over again is that technical just follows fundamental, right? So on our US 30 trade, this morning, we've seen a push to the upside. However, as you can see, it's clear, it's obvious. Structure has changed, right? Structure has changed from where we are, except we see a break of this new high that has been created, this one here, right? That has been created. We see a break of this new high, then we might want to now, say, okay, microstructure is now becoming bullish. But what we have now, as we speak, is a bearish market. And until we have even fundamental that supports any bullishness in the market, there's no point taking any bullish trade until fundamental supports it. I hope that makes sense, right? Until White House says, okay, we have something now that we found a way to negotiate with Iran, and then there's a complete ceasefire, right? And that being said, why we're waiting for that to happen, if we see further escalation in the markets, we can of course want to start selling off from this zone as it is, right? A clean zone, and then from here, our first take profit will be here, obviously. Second take profit will be this zone, this first one. So I can mark it like this, just above here, and then first take profit is 1:2, 2.4, not bad. Coming. Second take profit is where this breaker block here, 1:4, right? So that's in an ideal scenario that everything remains the way it is, and then it's getting worse, right? But then if there's any news that shows positive agreement, then automatically this becomes invalid. This becomes invalid almost immediately, right? I expect more instability this week in the stock market, especially past 100. We have a set of running already. Those that were here last, I mentioned it briefly, but then it was mentioned, and then price triggered this one. Not to feel like any Superman, this is just as a result of them not having any compromise in the market. If there had been some level of success with that negotiation, most likely what we have seen this morning is just a strong bullish candle, right? By 12 in the midnight or even 1 o'clock, and then boom, it's moving to the upside, because the stock markets obviously will be excited with such news. So what we have now is as a result of strong fundamental leading the theme of the market. So, and of course, technicals, we just tapped into the closest area of interest, which is this other block here. The price is now, I'm selling to the upside, selling to the downside. So we've seen a break. I expect this to even continue more, and then obviously this will be like the first take profit. And if for any reason just continues, like already, we are going to clear this external liquidity here. All right. That being said, we have almost the same thing with S&P 500. Okay, if you missed this first entry, I think they can still find a way to enter around this, exactly around this zone, right? Then enter from this zone. Your take profits obviously will be here. If you're looking at intraday kind of trade, it should be here. You enter from this zone. Then your take profits effectively is this, right? Your take profits will be this. All right. So that being said, moving to the next one, S&P 500. You can see the chaos that news made already to jump. If you were happening to buy last weekend, I am sorry for you, because I'm sure your SL will not save you, right? And brokers love this kind of news because they can give you very good swap, right? If you are carrying negative what's it called, swap, that's -1. Then this gap again will now extend your SL because they can close more than it should be on the grounds of slippage, right? So it's just what it is in the market. If that was your case during the weekend, it is where we move. That's the reality of the market that we are in now. All right. So S&P 500 on the daily time frame, as you can see, it's trying to recover. However, on the higher time frame, we are clearly what? We are clearly bearish, right? And we expect more sales to the downside. Its price has retraced. If you use the flip through, see the price has retraced to 78.6 level. I expect more to the downside, right? More to the downside, except and unless there's a positive news from both parties, right? From Iran and from the United States of America, right? Unless we have that compromise solid, what we would see is a continuous sell to the downside, right? Panic in the stock market. All right, that being said, that's pretty much what we have going on this morning with the US indices. If there's any other thing, any setup that comes up during the week, definitely you will be updated in the market color community. I'm very, very sure of that. Over to you, Abigail. What's happening in the commodity market? What do we have this morning? Over to you.
All right, thank you so much for that, Demola. Let's head over to see what the commodity market has in store for us, commodity currencies specifically. I'm going to be starting with a quick overview of certain levels that we marked out on Friday, where we said wanted to see, price sell and buy from. You're going to notice on USD CAD, the 5-minute time frame, that we had multiple levels marked out as at the 10th of April, which was Friday. And we said when price trades into this level, we are going to be looking for buy opportunities, temporary buy opportunities before we go back to H4 to see if price is either going to break through that level or continue to buy, or rather start to sell. So I'm going to basically show you what I mean for the sake of those of us who were not here, so you do not get confused. Again, this is one of our indicator strategies at the floor, so please don't get confused by all the lines that you see. Simply take note of the price points on the right-hand side here, put it on your chart and make some money off these calls. Now, we made cool money from what we marked out on Friday. These were levels we marked out, but this is the first POI that held before price came back to retest, and this other zone also held. USD CAD bots. Going back to H4, just so you see what we're talking about. As at that analysis session, we had sunshine printed here, so we expected price to give us a temporal buy, and we said temporal buy provided that there is a resistance level here that price could tap into and continue to sell from, following the change of character that happened around the zone. However, we also said that if price is able to break through this level, USD CAD may just continue to buy in sync with the major structure. Now, the buy has happened. In the process of this buy happening, the market left a gap. And this sell it could be that price is coming back to just fully fill out this entire gap and either continue to buy, or it would then break another structure point, which is somewhere around here. This will be the next structure point that price will break through. We want to see a continuous sell. So moving into H1, moving into the H1 level now, this is the buy we spoke on. The gap has been filled. This is a previous resistance that could act as support. I am curious to see what happens around this zone. If the support level holds, USD CAD is going to continue to buy. However, if this zone is broken through, best believe this is the next structure point that will be taken out at 1.38010, and we'll see more sell pressures going into USD CAD. Now, because what we marked out on Friday has already, done what it was supposed to do, this delivered over 50 pips. Let's go ahead and calculate that. This was 77 pips that we got on USD CAD Friday's analysis. So this has now served its purpose. Moving into today, moving into the week, what do we see happening on this asset class? I'll go ahead and mark out our new POIs into today's price movement, which is now this Friday's low, marked into today, Friday's high as well, also going to be marked. This is where price currently is. Yeah, remember that POI we also saw on the H1. Then I'm going to mark out Thursday's high and Thursday's low as well. Although these have been marked out already, so do we drag it out? So this was Friday's move marked already. This is Thursday. Drag it out into today, and then drag this out as well into today's price movement. So these are now my 4 POIs I'm watching out for. Also pay attention to this. I would like to see, is this support level going to hold breakthrough, we'll see continuous buy. If not, price will reach here, find resistance and continue to sell. So confirmational bias is what we'll be watching out for to finally decide what that asset class will be doing, and I implore you to also watch out for those levels. And then for NZUSD on the 5-minute time frame, same thing. Price tapped into the zone and it sold. Bias for this was a temporal sell. How many pips did we achieve? Almost 80 pips. Beautiful. So over 150 pips have already been achieved on just NZUSD and USD CAD since our last session on Friday. This is why we don't play around with this indicator. It is powerful. It is very, very powerful. Now, coming back to the 4 hours time frame, remember the sunshine we always speak on? This was the sunshine that we saw. Then we expected the temporal sell to happen. The sell has happened. And same thing with USD CAD, it also left a gap. So this buy could just be a fill of this gap here. However, if price is able to fill it up and just continue to break through, then we know that the buyers are back in full force. However, or rather, if price hits resistance somewhere around here and continues to sell, or even from here, because once the gap is filled, you could just see a continuous move downward. So right now, the market has not given me the full clarity that I would need to be able to take a decision right now. So moving into today, the rest of the day, I'll be watching NZUSD to see more clarity. But you know what? Let's go ahead and mark out our highs and lows on the 5-minute time frame. This may give us, a better picture of what price is about to do. You can see on the 5-minute time frame, structure is pushing up because of how much this bought for. Okay, so marking out Friday's high into today. Mark out this zone. This is still valid. This is like 2 POIs around that particular level now. So pay attention to this high probability. Okay, so we have now marked out these levels. NZUSD is now here. I would like to see what price does. Are you going to retrace? Very likely that we see NZUSD do something like this. And then a buy in here, hit resistance maybe, continue to sell, violate, come here, hit resistance and continue to sell. Go back to H4. What is my bias on the H4 time frame? Sunshine was printed, so this was expected. I'm basically saying one of two things, of course, with the market. Either you continue to buy and validate this level. For me to know NZUSD, this buy is back in full force. This will not be the major point of interest I watch out for right here. Or you're going to trade in here, hit resistance, and then start to sell. I missed out the level I was supposed to mark out on the H1, so let's quickly mark that out. I understand that the chart may be getting a bit clumped up. Please just pay attention to the levels I am marking out You could leave the indicators if you're not a student of the VFT Academy. Pay attention to this price point. So you can now see that we have three POIs on the H1, 0.57594, 0.58, 115, 0.58, 533, and now my three POIs. So either you do this, trade into the next point of interest, hit resistance and continue to sell, or this will serve as support and push it further out. And then finally looking at AUSD, same thing. This did over 70 pips as well. Over 100 pips. So 250 pips plus were accomplished on commodity currencies just Friday into today. I love that. And I hope we make money. We don't just want to analyze for analyzing's sake. I hope we're making money as well. So mark out levels and wait for what price does this week. Double confluence at this zone. Double confluence at this zone as well. So let's watch out for this. When we see confirmational buyers, we know what price we're doing for now. I think AUD/USD is going to do something like this. Trade back into our momentum and give us more push, more buys into the zone before price either now violates these levels, continue to sell, or rather continue to buy, or it will hold and continue to sell. I'll say that again. Either price comes into the zone, hits resistance and start to sell, or it is going to violate it. By that I mean breakthrough, turn resistance into support, and continue the buy move that we are currently seeing. This is my bias for commodity currencies. So back to H4 so we can have a clear direction. I'm basically saying that price will keep buying into this zone, violate this level, continue to buy, or hit resistance and start to sell. On the H1 level, we've marked out certain points that could attract price. Let's adjust that for what the indicators have done for this week's movement. Delete this, POY1, POY2, and we're now watching this zone. Price will come back into this zone, continue to buy or trade all the way into this level. I'm going to draw out the H1 POY as well for USD CAD. Okay, so let's watch out for these levels and see what price does rather. With that being said, thank you so much for joining. We'll be sharing live markups in the Telegram Market Caller community. If you're not there, be there and make sure you have the channel pinned so you don't miss out on the live trade sessions that we're going to be sharing before the next Market Caller session we have, which will be on Friday. Okay. Also, Ultimate Traders course is happening in Abuja next month. You definitely want to be part of it. And I say that with all sense of confidence because that course is so power-packed to the point where it can take you from being a total beginner to somebody who is able to make consistent cash flow from the Forex market. If you've been having difficulty navigating Forex trading, this is a class you do not want to miss. And it's going to be backed with heavy, back-to-back check-ins to make sure you are making progress, okay? With that being said, have an amazing trading week. Thank you once again for joining. See you next time. Cheers and God bless.